the City of Angels is black and gold. You are listening to the Heart of LAFC podcast. And now, Joseph Zacher.
Greetings, Los Angeles. Welcome to episode 298 of the Heart of LAFC podcast. For this one, we're going to call it Outclassed for very obvious reasons, as we'll try to explain what just happened to our beloved club. Y'all were there, who were there, you all watched, y'all know how it went down. So yeah, we're definitely going to get into it. Of course, to properly do that, we definitely have to bring our crew on. We've got Tony and Araceli here live with us today. And our buddy Bam has actually sent us a video response for reactions, which should be fun to hear from him. I'm letting this go raw. I don't know what he's going to say on this thing because honestly, I want the reaction that you guys get as well. So yes, we're definitely going to make that happen. He is at work. Hopefully we'll get him back for $299 and hopefully even $300. Yeah, that's right. We're marching that way as well. All right. Tony, how are you feeling, man? I know you're probably as drained as I am, or even worse at this moment.
I'm just tired as hell, to be honest. It's not what I wanted. Of course, this is football, so it's never easy when it's a loss like this, especially in a final, especially on your home turf. And we've been here before, and I keep telling myself that, but it doesn't get any easier.
No, it's as sobering as it gets. The reality setting in at this point. Again, sometimes we believe the hype a little bit too much. We might be victims of that in this case. Yeah, it's tough. Araceli, how are you doing?
Besides, just being very tired, actually doing very well. Obviously, very disappointed with the result from last night, but I mean, it's just one of those losses that's gonna dig deep for a little bit.
Yeah, I mean the lost opportunity I think is what's hitting us the hardest at the moment. Knowing that we won't be in the Club World Cup, that that hits really hard. But also I think for me the biggest thing is just the way it went down and the way we went out. And so uh let's just get into the match. Then we'll give you guys a chance to react and definitely want to hear from you guys today. We want to get again raw reactions. Tell us how you feel in this. Tell us how it's going to be. We definitely want to hear from you. This is what the community is about. We got to get through this because we don't have time to wait. We move on to another match right away. We'll have that too for you today, but definitely want to give you guys your moment too. So here we go. Of course, we lost 1-0 on the day on a goal by Lucas Di Iorio in the 20th minute on a counterattack. Aggregate, of course, ended 3-1. I think the big story from the minute we saw it was the way the lineup was listed. It kind of threw everybody off as we're going this way, and we actually did. We actually went into a 5-3-2. In this case, we had a comeback by Chiellini and Murillo with Long as our three central defenders. Palencia out on right, Palacios out on left. So our debate over Hollingshead and Palacios played itself out. He went with continuity. The hot hand at the end of the first leg, the guy that set things up, he went with him instead. Our midfield was made up of three. It was Sanchez in the middle with Acosta and Bogusz. I know there were some lineups showing that it was two, but it was actually three. Bogusz was the guy in there this time. Again, a three that we really haven't seen before is now showing up in the final. So again, slightly controversial. Up top was Vela and Bouanga needing to put in the legwork. The other side switched up, actually went deep with defenders as well and matched with us man for man in this case. Went defensive, went counterattacking and absorption. They were looking at the same faces. We had Davia Diorio up top. You had Mena, Romero, and Ambriz controlling the midfield, with Frias, Barrera, and Tessio anchoring the back, with outside Moreno and Hernandez. Again, they switched things up to counter us yet again, showing their tactical prowess, unlike what some players like to say. They proved once again that they were ready for this and had their game plan. Even before I go to the highlights, Tony, your thoughts the minute you saw this lineup? Were you shocked by it?
I was confused for a second. I didn't think. I know that I was thinking back to wingbacks, because that's how I felt it was going to be, and like Chiellini running pretty much point man as the controller of everything in defensive mid, and Aaron being like the second in command, and then just running with that, kind of fortifying like their counter press. Again, it was just a very odd choice by him for something that we haven't seen, because again, have before changed our lineups with everything, but I felt like I'll get back to it when we get to like the overall view game. Is like it was the Carson game. Throw out whatever we can and bring out our big guns, and we have nothing in the bench to come back with if we need to change tactics.
Yeah, I mean, it really was an interesting vibe. I think we talked last episode about how concerned we were about the midfield being overloaded, and in this case, we didn't really address that, right? It was almost assuming that they were going to get passed over anyways, and basically throw it between the two, the top and the back. I was a little bit shocking there, Araceli. As you're watching this play itself out, lineup gets released. Were you surprised?
I agree with Tony that I was also a little confused at first when I saw how packed our backline was. I mean, obviously, we are accustomed to kind of seeing how Dolo will adjust the roster when he needs to. But for that particular lineup for last night in that formation, it kind of made you question a little of what was he thinking? Was he thinking more in the defensive type of tactics? But I mean, overall, it was just a very hard match to watch.
Yeah, I mean, and it was designed that way. Basically, you're skipping your midfield in this type of a setup. You're looking completely to skip it and go out wide, go fast, go counter in a game where you're chasing a scoreline, which was even more fascinating as to the setup is to wait. You're playing a defensive counterattack in a game where you must score 2 goals to do anything, or no matter what they do on the field. You already know that 2 are going to be required just to get back into this, and you're playing a game that's designed as a defensive response. Really interesting vibe. Now, looking at the highlights, I don't think there's much to say except for a major glaring points. But Tony, I'm going to go to you on your very brief big moments for this one.
The only moment that really matters, to be honest, is the one that knocked us out of our wind and we try to get back to the game. This is the 20th minute. Goal by Leon by Lucas Diori. Right-footed shot in the center of the box to the center of the goal, and it was assisted by Moreno. And that's the thing, is just like it was one of those plays where it was we were caught off guard for the one time, because everything else was okay in the defensive side, but that was the one moment they took a chance on it, and that's the moment that actually matters. Now we can go break it down with all the key moments, but it's going to be too long because there's a lot, just yellow cards, a lot of moments where it just when you felt it was being fixed, but it's still no excuse. At the end of the day, we had the best lineup supposedly that we could have done, and we couldn't just put it away with sitters and non-sitters even with that.
Well, yeah, I mean, it was tough to see on the goal itself. Ultimately, they caught us on their own counter, right? And got the ball basically just within the half, right? Within our half, kicked it out wide as Palacios was caught high. Again, by design, he was caught high. And then we have 3 center backs that look completely out of whack, and one goes high while the other 2 go low, and nobody stays central. They're both dropping deep. So it breaks apart. And all their striker had to do was pull up from his run, right? He just comes right back up. Nobody follows him. And yeah, it was a little bit goofy as a cross, but at the same time, we were all so deep on the play that there was no way to address it. Of course, the shot goes off. It's a little bit of a fluky type of hit. McCarthy can't handle it, which was a little surprising in the moment, but it did have an odd spin on that thing, and it found its way into the net. At that point, you knew we were in trouble, and had to adjust a lot to get back into this thing. Before that, though, we have to admit that we did have good possession. We did show, even in this lineup, moments where we could have put a ball away and where we could have done something. Bouanga had his opportunity early. Long had his opportunity in the first half, and the header went wide. Again, you don't get a lot of options. Ask Leon. They scored on their first chance. That's the difference, right? That's the big difference, is those who can finish lift trophies. Those who cannot simply don't. And that is what we saw from the first half, is not finishing opportunities. As the game progressed, of course, we did see some interesting substitutions. Things weren't working out, and we found ourselves in a moment where Velo's off the field. We know we had a rough game, but Vela is off the field, and now you've put all of your chances into Buke, Apoku, and Bouanga, who's been hammered all game, in a midfield that now is dominated by Cifuentes, the guy that struggled in the first leg, and he's now the solution for the rest of this thing. I don't want to call it a surrender, but the ones that we could trust throughout this series, throughout the season so far, the consistent ones, we're now finding them not on the field anymore, right? And in a moment where we really needed the veteran presence to get us through, and now we're relying on the kids to run and gun this thing and find a way. Tough to see, very tough to see. The other hard thing to see was, of course, Long going down with a really horrible injury. And hoping he's okay. I got cut up pretty good there. I mean, that's my thoughts on this game. Is just the starting lineup was odd. The substitutions were odd. Players that we count on weren't able to step up, I think, because of the design of how we were approaching this. And just everything was not as it was supposed to go, right? It wasn't as it seemed. We weren't playing our game. They were dictating on this. Yes, we had more possession, but the way we cycled the ball, the way we moved the ball, it just wasn't us. It wasn't our style. It was out of sorts. Yeah, I'm going to go back to you, Tony, on your thoughts on this and what you saw as this match played itself out.
No, it was just hard to honestly rewatch, and just to see at this point, it was just as we see the eye test, and as everyone sees the eye test on the field, there are players who are late to the balls or early to the balls, or just can't get the right passes. That's fine and dandy, and this is not me hitting hard on our boys, because they're doing what they can do, and that's how it is. But it's just more on at the end of the day. Now it falls back on Dolo. Like, we do trust his instincts, we do trust his because he got us a cup and everything. But it's just for like I said, this Lyon's manager is a tactical manager. You know what I mean? Everyone's saying, oh, they can't win in playoffs because they didn't care about it. They cared about this. They're in the finals for Champions League Alpha Months. Who cares? And then it goes back to, it's like, all right, Rose Bowl, don't play anybody. I'm sorry, Rose Bowl. I'm thinking already ahead for Carson. The U.S. Open Cup, we don't play anyone, and that's fine. Like Bouanga, Carlos, the older veterans, 100% fine to get them as much rest you can, but don't run any of the young guys who are available, who can recover on a week-long race. And yes, injuries are a scare, but if you're going to play scared like that and injuries, then we're not playing the game right, because we lost Palencia to this game. We don't know how long Aaron Long is going to be gone as well. And it just felt like we gave up and surrendered in our own field. Like, we were trying, like us in the 32-52, of course, push as much effort as we can, and it was hard. Not gonna lie, it's like we were all drained. We're all feeling the effects of everything again. And I'm also, I guess, the only bright light of this whole situation, if you can call it anything, is there's a lot of members in our fan group, in our fan base, and in our supporter culture who do not know this pain. Who do not know literally seeing someone celebrate on our field, on our pitch, and do everything. Now I wanted everyone to stay, and I wanted everyone to rewatch it or look at it to remember that and use that as fuel moving forward, because this is something you don't want moving forward. And the only other thing is, yes, there were stupid fans that threw stuff on the field, but at the end of the day, the players were dumb, and I'm sorry, this referee did not control the game. He didn't, and he even blocked one of our attempts, and that's where I felt where the the conspiracy of them maybe trying to get in. And it's not an excuse. I'm just saying, like, it went like that. Like, there's a chance where Acosta could have shot it, but the referee was in the way of play, and he didn't say anything. And of course, the fouls too. Like, of course, like the miraculous, I'll call it the miraculous fucking stretcher that healed the player to get back up and be able to walk instead of like he can't walk anymore. So that's my 2 cents on that.
No, you know what? It's always going to be against us. We're used to this. Like, this the LAFC way at this point, and when it's CONCACAF, it's the MLS way. You're not going to get the calls. Things are going to be rougher than they normally will. I guarantee you, if Leon pulls this crap, honestly, in the Club World Cup, you know what's going to happen. There's going to be a sending off. You know, there are plenty of chances for that in this game. They won't last once the competition becomes more serious. Okay. When I make serious, I mean the referees become more serious. The nonsense that they pull all game will not happen. And yes, we were forced to go into that nonsense too, and we should have gone into it. Right? If this was the environment that you're in, well, then force him to make the hard decision. And if he does, then there you got a real controversy on your hands, you know? But if this was the dogfight that you had to get into, then definitely perform. You know, you have to do it. It's how it's going to be. This is how it's played. This is no surprise. It's always been this way. If you're not ready for that, then you will not get through. It's just that simple. They will bully you. You have to bully back. It's a cup final. Deal with it. It stinks, but that's the way it goes. You know, Seattle did it, and we know how rough they can play. They figured it out. They built a roster that can handle that pressure and give it back. We didn't on the day, and we lost our own way through the process. Through 2 matches, we lost our own way. We ceded what makes us good. We ceded what makes us better than most for the sake of this. And it's rough to see. And yeah, we did blow it with Open Cup as well. That could have been a fine tune-up for this thing. It wasn't used that way. There's that. Araceli, I'm going to give it to you on your reactions on this thing. I know.
I mean, it's just like how I said earlier, you know, obviously I was very disappointed with just the match overall, really, because I mean, the reality is we can sit here and try to pick it apart bit by bit in terms of like the run of play, those decisions, the refs calls, in my opinion, because for both legs, the refereeing was very questionable. We can always deep dive into that controversy alone, but either way, it was an unfortunate result. Obviously, we would have loved to have seen our boys lift that cup, but I guess the kind of to echo a little bit of what Tony was saying with the light of the at the end of the tunnel is I am proud of the boys for making a deep run as they did in the CCL. Now we have Open Cup out of the way, we have CCL out of the way, and hopefully now this will give LAFC a chance to kind of lick their wounds and get back into just regular MLS play and see if they can make another run at the MLS Cup, maybe back-to-back champions. That could be a thing. But I mean, for me personally, the thing that really disappointed me the most, and I'm curious to hear your guys' reactions on this, is all day I have been seeing nothing but videos of just endless fighting at the stadium yesterday. Like, I realize it's a cup final. It's not going to be all sunshine and rainbows with the fans, but the amount of stuff that I saw being thrown at the north end all the way to the fights in the Leon section was just heartbreaking. And that is something I do not want to see LAFC be pictured as.
From our standpoint, where we were at, the cup throwing was an issue, right? From what we could see in the moment. The videos coming in from the section, you know, what can we say? It's never acceptable, ever. We don't want to go down that way. We don't want to be labeled that way. I would caution, and again, short videos. We don't know what the lead up was like. We don't know any of that. We just see a video, right? And it's not the first time we've ever seen violence between Liga MX supporters and MLS supporters. It's not like it's anything new. I would caution that security has a lot to do with this, because they were very slow to react on a lot of cases. Even in the North End, when there were moments, it's always seems to be very sluggish in dealing with things, even when we alert them. There was a lax thing. You saw how many fireworks got in, right? And the visiting supporter section, all the flags that we couldn't have when we were in Leon. It just, again, seemed to be ripe for it because it wasn't handled the way it should have been handled as an international cup final. It is what it is. Not excusing anything that happened, because violence is never acceptable. But it just, again, while they weren't ready on the field, obviously people weren't ready off the field either. That's my take. Tony?
Not surprised, especially with me, like this fan of just Mexican fan base. This is how it is. Coming from going to many Mexico games, America games, is just they'll fight their own if they have to. It's just when alcohol's involved and everything like that, things get heated. It's dumb. It shouldn't be allowed. But on top of that, it felt like even when we were getting into the stadium for our setup, they were fucking lost in the woods. Like they didn't know anything. So it was just like that. And then I've had an instance where they were mistreating even like special needs people, because they were searching everything because there was a hassle. But it's like there's a certain way to do it and there's a certain way not to do it, and it was just done wrong. So it's just that they got just a bunch of dough faces out, and they're just sent to the wolves, and that's why you couldn't control everything. And that's why it's like, it's an international cup final. You understand this, how it's going to be, and there was no movement. And that's one thing I don't like, is there's no movement of Lyon fans or rival fans when they're in our stadium. It's like, this is the away section, you get moved and you have to be moved. When it's in Carson, it's automatically the first thing that happens, you know? And if we're going to have Leagues Cup, use this as an example to tighten things up, because if this doesn't happen, it's going to get a lot worse if we keep playing games moving forward against Mexican sides. It's just going to keep going and going. And it's going to keep rising and rising. And then to the point where I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, there's definitely double standard when it comes to it. MLS supporter groups, we're held to this like tight standard, right? This is what you have to do. This is what you're allowed to have in. You have to go to here. You have to have these wristbands. And then Liga MX supporters, do whatever you want. And it's rare to see the ejection. It's not a group ejection ever. Like, they'll do that to us. For them, it's a couple individuals. And it's like, well, they're not going to be here next week. Well, what does that matter? People are getting hurt. I think, you see it here. The environment was right. I can say that the spirit in the stadium did get hostile. I think a lot of it had to do with the run of play and the way players were reacting, and the play acting and all that stuff does set people off. It does. There's some ridiculous stuff out there, and it just kind of compounds it, right? That was the culture of the game, was edgy, and it did what it did. Frustrations were there. Yes, Tony.
I just realized there's a moment where you realize how blindsided and ignorant they were. And thank you to Jimmy for stopping this, is security was going to allow the Lyon team to walk in front of us into the North End. And
they tried.
And once they got to a certain corner, they realized quickly they need to get the fuck out of there. And security, and Jimmy was like, they need to get the fuck out of here. Like, so thank you for Jimmy to quickly trying to get them out of there and protect Lyon, as much as we shouldn't have to protect them. But we, as civilized people, we know this is not, they shouldn't be here. Like, we're not going to parade our trophy win in front of Lyon supporters when we do that. Like, you know what I mean? You walk away. Like, that was
You
the
stay at midfield, you go to where your fans are. But yeah, the fact that they tried to do a victory lap right in front of the North End was a little bit wild to see.
Mhm.
I don't know what that was about, except of course to be disrespectful. And you prod a wounded animal, it's going to react.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of ridiculous that he even got that close. But thankfully, again, Jimmy and others were jumped into there, and I felt bad for the security that was in front of those guys because it was ugly. It was ugly, and we don't want to see that. We never want to see that. It's bad news. It's a bad precedent to set. But yeah, again, I don't take my time to look at all these crazy, nasty videos. Um, I would consider the source, right? And their purpose of why they would want to post them. Nothing new there. Again, those on the sidelines like to say a lot of things, and so that's that. On our end, we can only do our best, and on my end and in Tony's end, what we do is our best within our section, within the North End, where we know people can be more responsible, and we all work together as a large network of supporters to do what's best for the North End. I cannot speak for people out of that section. I can only condemn, right, when it's nasty things go down. But on our end, if the 3252 is out of line, I'm more than willing to talk about that and call it out as needed. But yeah, rough case. Definitely don't want to see it. But on our end, I think we did pretty much admirable on our end, taking care of business when things went out of hand. And didn't happen much. Again, the only time where it looked really bad was post game, and then again, and a situation that it shouldn't have been one. So thank you, Ursula, for bringing it up. But yeah, it stinks. It just stinks all the way around. Any final reaction, guys, before we throw this to our supporters? I see a couple comments ready to go.
Nothing from me.
All right, let's get into it, guys. Join the conversation. Jump in. We want to hear what you guys think. I'm going to throw this right from the start and who jumped on first. I see Ox. Good to see you on here. Good to see you at the game yesterday. Ox did get in, everybody. Last second ticket, but we got him in there. Sun got in as well. So there you go. Smalls on here says, what a week. Yeah, right. Now we got 2 competitions and 2.5 if you really want to look at Leagues Cup. But yeah, it's a different world now. A lot changed in one day. Daniel Angel says, Heart of LAC, hold me while I cry a bit. Man, I'm still in anger mode, guys. I'm sorry. I was sad on the field. Tony saw me, but it quickly went to anger, man, because things are so preventable. And I'm gonna be here for a while. Welcome to anger, everybody. Ox says it was a tough loss indeed. Elio Hobo says LAC looked coachless. What an embarrassing performance. It was a lot, but yeah, again, good in other times. This time, yeah, he kind of met his match. And I will say this: as much as we're throwing things down on our own team and their shortcomings, we do have to be honest with you guys and go, look, Leon was built for this tournament. This was their goal this year, something they have never won in decades of existence. Again, we're a little 6-year-old here, guys, right? We're a baby in the terms of football history. We're pissed at 6, right? Our 6th season. They've been at this for decades trying to get something out of this. This is the highest they've ever done after all these years. And they did the work, and tactically they made it right, and they did it. They made it happen. And sacrificed their playoffs, let's be honest, to get to this stage. So credit does need to be given to Leon. They earned this one. And it was maybe more about them earning it than us losing it. But no, we didn't show up on the day, and we got shocked by the level they were at. Javier Jr. says we needed to attack. We were down. The lineup was so defensive. I agree with you. I think it was players. Honestly, player choices were not where they needed to be when we had guys available. I'm still in awe to see how it came out. Dave Gomez says we were not crisp. We lost the midfield. We got out coached. It was rough. Yeah, tactics were wrong on the day. We got outsmarted by a very, very good manager who I don't think Leon's going to be his final stop, guys. Something could be bigger for him. Honestly, he's really good. We have Daniel Angel says, seemed like based on the lineup, Steve wanted to hold for the first half and get a goal in the second, but you can never rely on goals. Need to go out from kickoff. Sorry, but Dolo got this one wrong. It throws me off. It just does. You know, the lineup that we saw was the lineup they should have filled against Alawense in the second leg, right? You have a lead, you get through it, you move on. But first strike capability, right? The guy, you bloody them first and then they'll let them wake up. Like it never happened. And he did get the sense that if you got one on them, you could get two, right? Then they're shocked. But it never came. It just never came. Dave Gomez says the bright spot is we now have our Liga MX rival now. I mean, yeah, we've hurt them, they've hurt us, right? There's a good back and forth with Leon now. That's for sure. But I think our own enemy is ourselves in the moment. Like again, credit to them. They did what they had to do. Maybe maybe we're gonna see them again in a month or two. Right? But yeah, it's tough. It's tough. So Daniel Angel jumps on. He says, Leagues Cup better give us the rematch. Hey man, I think we're gonna be struggling against Mazatlan in the moment again. Before we have to get to Leon. But yeah, it could see them again. That's for sure. Dan Frosa says Vela looks suspect. I think Vela looked isolated and was asked to do a job that he cannot perform anymore. We talked about this at the beginning of the year. We talked about the end of last year. What is his real role in this? What does he do the best? And I think the assignment he was given for this match to run things down, to throw some speed up there, are things he doesn't have anymore. I mean, Tony, I'll throw this to you. I mean, it feels more like a misuse than condemnation of Carlos Vela.
It's just a misuse of him. He's, again, I love the dude. He's done a lot for our club, but it's like you can't. His passion is not football, as everyone knows. Everyone forgets about that. You know what I mean? Everything he does is kind of like, when he gets mad, he still loves it and stuff like that. But he's not the player that everyone wants him to be. He's more of a captain-esque, almost assistant captain-esque person to run the field and get things done. And when he gets frustrated, he kind of loses it. He just needs to, again, younger Vela was a better one, of course, but older one just needs to change the game a little bit more and use them, because I feel like people are stuck with him being the main striker and doing all the flashy plays when he should just step back and be more of the facilitator.
Yeah, again, different role. I mean, what if we want to go crazy and you're worried about the midfield? What if we went out there with 5 mid? Two defensive mid, have Acosta and Ilie sit back, and throw Vela as your attacking mid, almost a reserved striker behind Bouanga. If you really want to clog things up and give him a different purpose, what if that was the way to do it in this one? Who knows? We'll never know, right? Because we went with what we went with. But yeah, I mean, I get it why everybody's kind of focusing on Vela. He is the star of the team, and this happens when you're the star of the team. Did I think he was absolutely horrible in the match? I don't. I think I'm the weird one. I'm like, I don't, because when he did have the ball, there were times where it looked pretty good. It's just he wasn't able to leg things out that we wanted him to leg things out on, because I just don't think that's in him anymore. It's just, again, age, miles traveled. That's not the Vela that we have anymore. He doesn't do that anymore. Find a match this year where he did. That's not the way he's approaching the game these days. It's a little bit out of reality, I think, if we're expecting him to get back to, league leading goal scorer Carlos Vela. That Vela is not around anymore, guys. That ship has passed. We have to focus a different way with him, and it's worked this year. But in this game, again, in a cup final, right? All of your little faults, all of your little weaknesses get exposed, and that's what happened. Anthony Martinez talking about Vela says, rumors say that if LAFC doesn't re-sign Vela, they're going after Ronaldo next year. I highly doubt it. I mean, again, there's money there, right? But Ronaldo seems like apparently he's really happy to be making, boatloads of money where he's at right now. do you really think Vela's going to get re-signed next year? Do you think that's a focus? I mean, that's something we can have down the line, but I would say at the moment, let's be realistic with it. It ain't going to be at the contract he's at now. Araceli's shaking her head, right? I mean, it's way down the line, but honestly, it's not going to be the same thing for him either. Go for it, Araceli. Your thoughts on Vela?
I mean, when it comes to Vela, this is a discussion that we've already had, I think, for the last couple of games for this season already, and that he's just not there as a player anymore, which is very unfortunate. He is one of the originals. He was the very first player signed for the club. So obviously, there's a lot of history with him, but I I don't see him sticking around any longer after this season. It's sad to say, but if last night was any indication of that, he's just not there as a player, unfortunately. Yes, he's great as a leader and integrating new players that do come to the club, but um, I just don't see him staying any longer.
It would be a change of role and definitely not the contract, right? You definitely have to be under DP, I think, if we go to the future. I do think this, if we had pulled off the upset last night, because that's what it turned into by League 2, he tries to stick around for whatever the cash is because he wants to go to Club World Cup, right? There's another experience, another cup to go for, but that's gone now. That's not reality anymore. Now we're playing for something he's already won. Leagues Cup, yeah, but again, Leagues Cup is a cash grab tournament. We know this. But he's won the other ones. So it's going to be real interesting to see where his head is at after this. Really interesting because, yes, the battle is the double now. That is the only battle we have, is to try to get the same double we had before and do a back-to-back, which is not something that happens in MLS. It just isn't. So that's history making if we pull that off as well. And that is his focus now. Does that mean he stays on next year? Yeah, we don't know, but we know it'll be a hard conversation that this club has never had a problem having hard conversations with people. Just ask a certain executive now working in Carson. We're not past hard conversations with people. So there's that. Richard Cueva does make an interesting point. He says Angel Mena and Elias Hernandez are older than Vela and played with more passion. They also look like they're in better shape and a little more in the zone. That's probably because they've had a month off with 2 tune-up matches and no stress, getting ready for this thing. So I just think they were in better form altogether because they were more ready for this thing. Again, miles traveled is a lot less for them this year. It is. And Angel Manuel plays like he's in his 20s anyways. Let's be honest. The guy's a little bit ageless in his approach. I gave warning about him already. Again, different realm. And yeah, I will say this about the entire Leon side. I have never seen a team recover in a while, recover for that second ball as quickly as this team did. It was pretty amazing to watch them act as a unit and move as a unit. It was tough for our guys because there wasn't any options, right? They closed things up so quickly. And those two were major players in that, yeah, the team defense approach the way they like team counter. It was impressive. It really was. LA Hobo says that ole ole with our players chasing after the ball like a pinball made us look like amateurs. This will not be forgotten for years to come. Leon silenced the BMO that never happened. I mean, we weren't silent in the North End. We weren't. We were doing our thing. It got tough late, that's for sure. But yeah, the ole ole, that's a shot at our players, man. And just again, giving up possession. And I think that was more of a shot at the substitutions in the moment. Let's be real. When that happened was after the changes happened. So tough to see. That's for sure. It was embarrassing. I give you that, man. Definitely embarrassing. Mark Lopez says it was evidence we needed a real striker. We couldn't do anything down the middle, and when we worked it down the wings, there was no one to get it and get to goal. Coaching off, players off. We didn't earn it. I mean, that at the end of the day, we didn't earn this thing. They did. That's why you play cup finals. And someone has to lose, and that happened to be us this time. And there's a million reasons, and we've talked about it. So Chicho would have been nice in this game. I'm not sure what he would have done, but it would have been nice to have Chicho out there too. I'm with you, man. I'm with you. I get it. I totally do. What's funny is in this summer window, we're gonna see changes by this team that could have probably done before, but things didn't happen. So there's that. Ox says off topic, but it's so weird watching y'all this early. It's our normal time. You're just on the West Coast now, man. For the moment. Alexis Garcia says rematch against Land round of 16, August 6th, baby. Oh boy, here we go. Could happen. We'll see. We will see. Mark Lopez, attacking mid Vela on Tam is the way. I mean, if he's willing to take that change, I'm willing to take him back. Yeah. Alexis Garcia, if I can recall good, Hercules Gomez was on a Spanish show saying Vela was on his best these past 3 years. It's Hercules Gomez. He says a lot. A lot. I don't want to take a shot at the guy, but he has to say things to get a reaction and to create banter. That's his job in this world, right? He's not a footballer anymore. He was. Now he's got to keep his show interesting. So both of them say wild things to get a conversation. He says a lot. And ESP this past year thoughts. Well, I mean, he won an MLS Cup. So in MLS, he's fine. In this tournament, things got exposed at the end against a team that honestly was more ready for it than we were. And a lot of us kind of ate up the hype. Carlos C. Vela doesn't have legs anymore. He can't run away from defenders anymore. He's not that wild winger that we once had. No, we know this. We talked about this. We did. Ox also says, agree, won't be seeing Vela after this season. Well, doesn't his contract end this summer? Yeah. Ends in December. I mean, he can finish things out. Carlos C. Biggest problem I saw yesterday is that Leon took away Vela and Wong, and knowing that the other two strikers weren't a threat. The hard truth, like at the end when we're putting our hopes into Opoku, who had a chance he should have done something with and didn't. You only get one in big games, and he did what he normally does. And Buke, who is a work in progress. Yeah, it was tough. It says it was impressive how well organized and well drilled that Leon team looked compared to us. Nah, they were ready. They had a whole month to look at all of our faults, all of our strengths, and build a battle plan for it. Build a game plan to take that on. Credit to them. They did their homework. Richard Cueva, hot take. Last year's roster would have beat this year's Leon team. Just my opinion. I don't think so. Not this year's Leon team ain't the last one. This one is pretty darn good. I don't think so. I don't. It would have been nice to have, Gareth Bale flying through the air towards the end of this thing and turning things around, but we don't have that. I know. It's tough. If again, we can wish, but that's not reality. We're here now. This is what we got. Now I got to get better in the summer window, I guess. There it is. All right, guys. Good stuff. Keep it going. We'll definitely check with you guys a little later after we preview Atlanta. Let's keep this thing going. You know what happens. You know what we normally do. It is definitely club and community news. So, Tony, I'm throwing it to you, man. Go for it.
Of course, the usual two that we always push on the community news, and then one new one, which is the Black and Gold Running Club is doing a Runs the Rose Bowl on June 11th at 8 a.m. Meeting place is in the parking lot at Lot I by the Aquatic Center. There are a 5K, 10K, and 15K run options, and all runners at all levels are welcome. Of course, as well as the 3252 membership is still open. This helps out with, a TIFOs, like the one you just saw, flag repair, drum repair, a way to get a accumulation. So it's $30. You get a scarf, a pin, and discounts to LHQ, and this helps out also the supporter groups get their memberships up and stuff like that. So keeps going with that. And the last one, of course, is the Mo Facio futsal court that still needs to be built. I wish I could stop saying that, but we still needs donations. Whatever you can donate, $1, $10, $32.52, whatever you want to do. It's on LAFC.com/Mo Facio. So if you whatever you can do, just donate. And of course, we still have our Pride fundraiser that's going on with prideraiser.org. So again, this is Pride Month. It's to celebrate that everyone belongs in the world of football. So make sure you can also go to that website and donate and help us out with a very important cause to all of us, and wish it wasn't a cause and just normacy.
Thank you, sir. Reality. Exactly. We got to be better. We'll help where we can. That's for sure. Araceli, I'm going to pass one over to you. They are now on to the LAFC 2 update. How are the boys doing?
Well, the boys have seemed to slip into their old ways, unfortunately. They fell to the Houston Dynamo 2-0 this past weekend with 2 late goals in the second half. Javier Romero picked up his second yellow in the 89th minute for a bad foul, resulted in a red, knocking LAFC 2 down to 10 men. But hopefully they will have a chance to redeem themselves this upcoming weekend as they host the Rapids 2 this Sunday at Titan Stadium. It's slated for a 4:30 p.m. Pacific time kickoff. If you cannot make the match, it will be on Apple TV. Other than that, there's really no other updates coming from LAFC 2.
Not the best situation, that's for sure. Looking like an expansion side all the way. It's tough. It's really tough. Araceli, how are things for the Rapids this year? I think we got a good chance against them.
If I'm very blunt, no. As
Ooh,
of
okay.
now, Rapids 2, they actually just recorded MLS Next Pro unbeaten streak. They are now at 11 games unbeaten. They're the only team to be unbeaten as of now for the league.
Oh my. So again, it would have to be a huge upset from a team that's not showing it in them to do it. So all the best there, LAFC 2. We hope you do something special, but man, that's rough. Thank you, Araceli, for the update. All right, let's move this on to the Black and Gold Vinyl Club Minute. We were going back and forth. We're going to actually go, again, we focus back on the cities who we're going to play against, the regions we're going to play against. So we went to Georgia for this one. And for this one, Tony, you got this. I know you wanted Ray Charles, so we're going to do Ray Charles. Good choice. Song and album, a little strange on this one, but it's going to be I Can't Stop Loving You for very obvious reasons, as we're in this moment right now. As bad as things look, as grim as they look in the moment, y'all know we're going to go crazy on Wednesday again. So that's what we are. We're supporters. We're fans. We love our team. So we can't stop loving them. Whether they fell on their faces or not, we'll be the ones that help pick them back up again when it's all said and done. We'll give them the hard truth, but y'all know we're going to be there anyway. That's how it works. Album, of course, released. It was a cover released in 1962 for Modern Sounds in Country and Western Music. Go figure. As famous as that song is, it is a cover. So there you go. That is our Black and Gold Vinyl Club Minute. All right, let's jump this right back into it again. We don't have time to be sorry. We don't have time to lick our wounds because we got a league to play for. We've got a cup to play for. We got a supporter shield that's within grasp as we're sitting here. Whoo, man. 5 games in hand chasing Cincinnati, who's flying right now. But we can still pass them quickly, so that's a good thing. Of course, we got to play Atlanta, who's struggled to get wins as of late, but have been really exciting in all the drama that they cause. So, game, of course, is going to be Wednesday, 7:30 p.m. kickoff. Be there if you can. It's a midweek one. I know I'll be there. I know Tony's going to be there, and if Araceli could jump on a supersonic jet to get here in 2 minutes, she'd be here too. But that is life, right? But I know she's going to be watching the game. So, how are things looking right now? How's the run of form? Well, we all know where we're at, right? 3 straight losses. And I will say it's 3 straight, no matter who you want to put in the lineup. The Crest is playing. So, guess what? We're on a 3-game losing streak. Thank you, Cherundolo, for that. Looking at them, they've got 3 straight draws. Wild. They had a loss and a win before that. Really a team that, in terms of results, is underperforming, but in terms of performance on the field is, again, a pretty darn exciting team to watch. Last game, of course, was a 3-3 draw. Tony, your thoughts on how things are going for them right now?
They're doing pretty well in their last couple matches against a lot of ties, but like they're chugging along with Almada, especially doing craziness. It's just
So who
the
really
best
stands out, like, from their
besides
side?
Almada. Besides
Yeah,
Almada,
yeah.
what's como? Oh, dude,
So I'm gonna go for it here. It's Giorgio Gakumakis. I know,
Gakumakis. Okay.
right? How many goals does he have already?
12 played, 9 and he has 9 in those 12 games.
Giving off Buanga vibes right there, man. That's a lot of goals. That's a lot of goals. Of course, Almada's the next one in the list with 7 goals. They got goal scorers, man. I mean, you can read the names down the line, but they've got what, 8, 9, 11 different goal scorers already this year.
Mm-hmm.
Am I seeing that right? It's crazy. Yeah. Like, they score from everywhere. They score lots of goals, but they also give up a lot of goals. They're kind of a fun team. Looking at their goal difference, they're only guys. They have 32 goals this year.
I think we lost Joseph for once. I know his internet was going to be here. So in total goals, they have 32 goals to our 23. Goals against is 28-10, and goal differential for us is 13 to their 4. We have 12 assists and 19. So again, they can score a lot, and then assist, but they get scored on as well as pretty decently as well. Moving with their lineups, the last game they ran a 4-2-3-1 with Giorgio up front, and they with Almada right behind him. I was like seeing if George.
Yeah, pretty well. I think I'm back in. We had a little bit of a technical.
Yeah, there you go.
Sorry, guys.
No worries.
That was a little odd. I had a little warning on that one, but hopefully you're still seeing us on the pod right now, and recording still happening. But we did have a little bit of a moment there. The last game, I know you're talking about the lineups for the last game. Look, they played a 3-3 against New England Revolution. It was bonkers. I'll say that. They scored. Well, they allowed a goal in the first few seconds of the game on a blown clearance by Braguzan, which, let's be honest, he tried to pass it up the middle, which you never do. He's an old man. He should know better than that. But he did it, and so they allowed a goal early, but they fought their way back. They thought they had the win in the 87th minute, only to have Carlos Gil steal one back. Another brilliant finish with his off foot to tie the game. So this is kind of the stuff you expect with Atlanta United. As Tony said, they do play a 4-2-3-1 with Robinson and Purata as your backs, your Gutman as your left back, Lennon as your right back, defensive midfielders Ibarra and Rossetto. Almada is your central attacking midfielder with Araujo and Etienne on the outsides, with Giacomakis up top. That is what they played. Here's an interesting thing about their game against New England. Their total possession for that match, 72%. Yeah, they play, man. They play, but they're susceptible to counters. 20 shots, only 7 on goal. We know what that feels like. Only allowing 5, but again, getting hit for 3 goals is pretty rough. This is kind of their vibe. Now, they did have a 1-1 draw in Orlando. tough battle, but they worked it through and tied it in the 86th minute. In that case, also the 4-2-3-1. No shock there. Lineup looked the same as well. This is what we should expect in this game. We should expect a lot of shots, but a lot of inaccurate shots at times and bangers. Like that's the thing. When they score pretty ones. And so if we're lazy in mid and we don't close people down at the box, it's gonna hurt. We're gonna suffer for sure.
And we lost him again. This is a very fun
Issues
episode.
to
Oh, there he is. There he is.
It's there.
He's-
Can you hear me, guys?
He's here.
Yeah, we can hear you. There you go. I think you're back. Or not. All right. So
Then we lost him again.
I think he's in the frozen. This is a fun episode. Again, technical difficulties, outclassed. So I believe we should just move it forward to LAFC. As you've known, we just had a game against Lyon, so most of the starters aren't maybe available. Oh, there we go. You're back.
Maybe.
Yeah, I'm here, but I am. Sorry, guys, for all the technical difficulties on this episode. It's been pretty rough here. Yeah, again, looking at the lineup, looking at where we're at, it's been tough on their end. They see where they're at. We see where we're at. Stay on for this episode, and it stays. It looks like things have now stabilized on my end. Tony, I'm going to throw this to you right away. Lineups. What do you think we're going to go with after getting?
Being with the lineups, I think we're still going to go with our 4-3-3. I believe Opoku and Bouanga will. Bouanga, I feel, will start, and Opoku will as well, because Bouanga wants to play every game if he can. He's willing to. I think Vela gets rested, and Bogus gets slotted in. For our midfield, Sifu gets a start. Tillman has to get the start, and it's up between maybe Sanchez or who am I missing? Sanchez or Acosta. If the sleeper pick for me for that one would be Duenas, and on the back it'll probably be Maldonado, Palacios, Hollingshead, and the other one, because you can't slide in Palencia because again he was last seen on crutches and stuff like that. So we could see one of the youngins slot in, or could be possibility that Giorgio starts this game even with limited minutes. So we'll see.
Yeah, it's tough. I'll go to you, Araceli. Your thoughts on the lineup? Who do you think the back line is going to be?
I think for the back line, we're definitely going to see Chiellini get the start on this one now that he's back. At least I would hope so, because as Tony pointed out, Palencia being on crutches, it's kind of a given that he won't be playing. But I would hope to see Chiellini, Madalano, Palacios, maybe Long if he's depending on his injury.
I'm a little worried about him there.
But
yeah, maybe tough. Honestly,
it's a tough one.
Yeah, I'm gonna throw mine in there. I think it's gonna be Murillo and Chiellini. Straight up, I think that's who's going to play because of where we're at in this. Obviously, going to be Hollingshead on the right and Palacios on the left, because that's who we got right now, and we got to bounce back. Midfield, my names I throw into there, I'd say it's going to be Sanchez, Acosta, and Tillman this time. Why the heck not? Ursula, your thoughts on the midfield?
Oh, I see it being kind of the same. Ilie, Tillman, and I'm hesitant to say Cifuentes, but I have a strong feeling he's going to get the start.
There it is. Yeah, I mean, he seems to be the guy trusted in the moment, even when he doesn't earn it. So there you go. Tony, your midfield choices?
Oh, I already said it. I pull out my full lineup, but to reiterate, it's Tillman, Cifuentes, and I'll be the surprise pick in Duenas.
Hey, dig it. Of course, top line, I don't think we're going to be too shocked. Vela Bouanga goes out there. Why would it not be? And then I'm thinking they're going to go Opoku again. So there's that. And Araceli?
Bawanga Vela, and I go with Bogusz.
That would be the hope, but I have a feeling. So there we go. There are lineup choices. All right. Before we lose our connection again, I'm going to roll right back to reactions again, guys. Let's do this. Before I read yours, though, I do apologize for not airing Bam's reactions from the last match. So I'm just going to throw that out there to give him a moment to have his moments. He kind of went heavy with this thing. So let's do this, and then we'll get your final thoughts, everybody.
What is good, everyone? Thank you very much for joining us to this episode. I'm at work at the moment, so I can't be there to this live, so I thought I'd make this a video to give my thoughts on the game and what I thought happened. Going into it after being 2-1 down in Lyon, I thought, we've got a chance here. We've come back from against Lyon in the past, we can go in and do this. Seeing a lineup with 5 in the back, 2 in the midfield, 3 up top, with Bogusz starting over Opoku, I thought, okay, let's see how this goes. With the 5 in the back, I automatically knew wing backs. We're going to try and play the wings a lot and push up. That happened for the first 10-15 minutes of the game, and then we decided to go play long ball. We played long ball and long ball and long ball. Just boot it up, get out of our defense, and get into attacking, hope our attackers can run onto it. For me personally, Bogusz, Bawanga, and Vela, they all went missing. We had a gilt-edged chance at the very beginning that came to nothing, and that hurt. That hurt quite a lot. Other than that, Rilo was the only one to me that showed a lot of fight. He was digging deep, trying to get everyone going. When the Lyon players went down for the foul, he was trying to get them back up and tell them they're not hurt, stop rolling around, get up, play the damn game. The yellow card he copped was soft. It was a soft yellow card. All he did was tell the stretchers people, take him off the quickest route. You know that the Lyon players are trying to get them to go the longest, to waste time. Really wanted them to go the quickest. The ref didn't like that. Showed a yellow card. The ref didn't like a lot that we did. Let Lyon get away with a lot of rolling around the ground. He started off with trying to call him out on it, but then just let him go. For me, it was very disappointing, the result. The subs, not much you could do about that. I think we've just not as prepared. We went in there thinking that we'll be fine. We were just underprepared, personally. This week, our next game is against Atlanta. We need to come back with the 3 points. If you can walk, if you can run, you're playing. We need the 3 points. There's now 2 trophies that we're not going to win this year. Out of a possible 5-6 trophies. So you got US Open Cup, we're out of. We decided to throw that away to win the CONCACAF Champions League. We're now out of that. So all we got left now is Supporter Shield, MLS Cup, Leagues Cup, and if you want to add it, Western Conference winners. We don't win at least 3 of those. Leagues Cup, Supporter Shield, MLS Cup. Or, alright, I'll take a Supporter Shield. Leagues Cup, MLS Cup. We don't at least win those 2. Disappointing season. Over the next month and a bit, when the transfer window opens, I want to see what we do. We need to bring in another striker so Bawanga can get some rest. I think us not playing games between these 2 did hurt us, because first couple rounds of the tournament, we were playing games in between it, and look where we went. We stopped, look what happened. So for me, we had too long of a break. We need to keep playing, and that is one of the reasons why we didn't do as well. I will say, Lyon, congratulations, you are the champions. but I never want to see another team lift a trophy in our stadium ever again. The only people lifting trophies in our stadium should be us. Plain and simple. I'm going to leave it at that. Otherwise, this is going to become an R-rated episode, and we know we are family here. So, everyone, stay safe. Check in on your mental health. Check in other people's mental health, especially after this game. And let's go and get a win.
And there it is, guys, with Bam's final take on the game of the day before we get ready for Atlanta. Again, we want to get that to you guys, but our connection before was not good enough to pull that one off. So here we go. All right, let's see where you guys are at. I see a few comments, a few predictions, a few concerns, all warranted. I'll be honest. So let's see. If we go back. Oh man. LA Hobo says this end of a cycle for us. What do we lick our wounds and continue forward? The question is it downhill from here? We'll see on Wednesday. My opinion is we crash this season. I don't think so. There's nobody as good as Leo in this league, so we're gonna have to run into that issue. Maybe we crash out of Leagues Cup. Honestly, I couldn't care any less about that than any tournament we've ever played in before. I care about that less than I care about the Open Cup. No, I think we'll get it back, and I also think we're going to make some moves during the international the trade window, I guess you could say it, or transfer window. So I expect some movement because I know how the ownership is at this team, and they're going to make some moves. I can guarantee that. Alexis Garcia says, "I get the Hercules show you're talking about, but I got to give him props. He has our back right now. Every Spanish show is laughing at us right now. He's like." They just had a bad week. Watch later. Dude, let them talk crap. I honestly don't care. We have to worry about ourselves and move forward. Now we have to get back in the tournament again and do something special this year just so we can have the right to do that. And that's what we have to do. We have to rebuild. We have to do what we have to do. We have a good core of players. We're off by a few to really compete against those guys. We'll get back. We'll figure out a way. This is LAFC. I expect nothing less. Dave Gomez, no matter what you see, you'll see me in LAFC gear. Time to beat Atlanta and focus on league. Yeah. All those big trash talkers from teams that are on the sidelines right now that used to be relevant. Now we all gotta worry about you guys. And so your big mouths, we're keeping receipts. I guarantee that. Now this is the only thing we gotta worry about. They're coming at you. Good luck with that. We won't be tired anymore. We'll get the same rest you do. Oh, yeah. And we could climb up the standings as you watch us climb up the standings as your team struggles for a wooden spoon. So bring it. Let's do it. Keep talking. We'll keep playing. Dave Gomez says, bam. In reaction to the video. Elioho, we don't have a team to win MLS Cup. That's just a fact. And this defeat will hurt our season. Downhill from here, I predict 0 trophy changes will come next year, hopefully. I predict different. Again, we have a right to our opinions. We'll see how this goes. I know it hurts in the moment, but I think, again, we're not done this year. That's for sure. Hey, Daniel Andres says, ACFC can lift trophies at BMO too. They're cool. Yeah. I don't think he meant it that way, but yeah, we hope they do as well. Jonathan Hill, Cup or bust. There you go. Marvin Mejia, will there be a Campeones Cup this year where the champ of MLS faces Liga MX champ? I don't know. Honestly, has it been scheduled? Has it been announced? It would be nice, but I think Leagues Cup has taken all the heat, all the energy. It's all about this tournament. So there it is. Bam says we need to win 3 trophies. That's called improvement from last year, right? So there's that. David Day jumping on late. Yeah, that's the vibe we all get right now. Now what? Now they got to grow up, man. Take it and move forward. All right. Good stuff, guys. Thank you for the reactions. Let's get it back and close this one out before we lose our connection again. All right. Let's throw this on to final thoughts, guys. Araceli, I'm going to have you start your final thoughts.
Final thoughts for me, although we were just covering Atlanta a second ago, for me, I'm already ready for next Saturday for when LAFC comes here to Kansas City. So I'm already looking forward to that. Of course, we still have 2 more matches in between because of all the rescheduled matches due to CCL. Other than that, I mean, we already know. So I'm going to pull the soapbox out here for a quick second. We got another match here on Wednesday. If you're going, please make sure you have a way to get to and from the stadium. Be safe. Look out for each other. Just please don't be an idiot. There's no other way to really phrase that. And yeah, I just hope that we continue to see the results, even though it's been a tough week. All we can do is just move forward.
Well, Tony?
And final say of the day is pretty much just we're prepared for, for Atlanta moving forward. People want to bash us, they can bash us. Just talk when you're in the midst of a title run and not in shambles with other teams, and that's the last thing I'll say on that team until we have to face them. But be safe. Make sure you're okay when you're not okay. If it's okay not to be okay. Sorry. Reach out to your fellow people and just make sure they're okay. They've been going through a lot, maybe, especially with everything moving forward. So just reach out, play some video games, catch a movie, grab brunch, dinner, coffee, a drink, anything. So at the end of the day, just respect other people as best as you can, and show respect when it's done, and live above all the trash that's been going around lately.
Well said. I think I'm still connected here, guys. Again, apologies today for the technical issues. I think I'm back, but hey, my final thoughts, again, look out for each other. Good times, bad times, we got to always keep in contact with each other, keep ourselves on our best light, do what we got to do to protect. Those going to the game on Wednesday, it's time to recover. It's time to support our boys, help them get through this struggle as well. They need our support more than ever. You want to have this season end well? Yeah, don't turn on them on Wednesday. It will be a good first step. They need the support. Trust me on this. On our end, as the North End, be there, be present, be noisy, treat it like a cup final. We got to get through Atlanta to get our momentum back again. So let's do that. For the rest of you, again, ups and downs happen. This is football. Those who endure are the ones that know better, right? You got to battle through. You got to get through the tough moments. You got to celebrate the good ones. But again, grinding the hard ones. That's what really defines you as a fan, as a supporter, which you can take the highs and the lows and ride it through. You're in the right place. So for all of you guys, again, stick it out. Get tougher Wednesday. We'll make this happen. Thank you, Tony. Thank you, Araceli. Once again, on their late night, making it happen. Thank you, Bam, for jumping on and sending us that video so we can get your reaction for this thing. And thank you to all you for tuning in through our highs and lows as well today, because, man, we had some moments. But again, thank you guys. Final word, I go to you, Araceli, first.
Stay golden.
Tony.
Stay golden, Los Angeles.
And from me to all of you, stay golden, Los Angeles.
Thank you for listening to the Heart of LAFC. Make sure to leave us a rating and review on iTunes or Stitcher. Shoulder to shoulder, the black and gold is taking over.